How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Masters of Horror Season 1, Episode 6, Homecoming. This is directed by Joe Dante, and is based on the short story Death and Suffrage by Dale Bailey. This stars John Tenny and Thea Abigail. Now, in general, I'm a pretty big fan of this show. I mean, it's not the best show ever. It consistently has budget problems, and some episodes are hits and some are misses, but in general I enjoy it, and I like to see more work from some of my favorite directors. You know, John Carpenter in there, Dario Argento, Stuart Gordon, Lucky McGee. This show has given us more stuff from people we really like. So I hadn't seen this episode before I watched it to do this review, and I was getting ready for another fun Joe Dante adventure. Joe Dante is a director I really love. Gremlins, The Howling, Piranha, Small Soldiers, which just got a Blu-ray kind of recently, actually, which is pretty cool. But Joe Dante, he's done a bunch of stuff I really love, and I was ready to sit down and watch a fun Joe Dante adventure. Sadly, this isn't a fun Joe Dante adventure. This is a serious political thing, and it's sadly kind of problematic, and everybody's a little sensitive as of late, and I kind of feel like I'm walking on eggshells, but I'm going to give this a fair review and a fair analysis of why it has major shortcomings. The episode's very political. I'm going to do my best to be apolitical myself. I'm not going to put in any personal biases. I'm just going to analyze the film. That's, you know, as a review. That's what I'm doing here. But that being said, let's jump right into the plot. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on some plot points, and I want you guys to have a basic understanding as to what this episode's about. We open up, it's during the second presidential election for George Bush. Now, they never say George Bush's name directly, but anybody that knows this point in American history, it's super obvious. They get a guy there doing an impersonation of his voice. You don't actually get a good look at him. And, I mean, it's the war and a re-election, and you know what time period it is. It's Bush. We all know they're talking about George Bush in the second election. Now, you cut to a TV opinion piece. They have two people there from the Republican Party. Your main character is a serious and professional political insider, and your other character is this woman who's more of your over-the-top commentator, the person with the zingers and all the put-downs and the little quotes there. And your main character, more of the insider guy, they ask him about all the people who are dying in the war, and he makes a statement along the lines of, if they could come back, they would say that what they died for was worth fighting for, basically. And it's a really heavyweighty statement that gets passed around a lot later on through various quotes and stuff. And afterwards, the two characters, the insider and the opinion lady, they go out, they have drinks, and they eventually fall in love, and that'll be more of your human side of the story. And I say human because the zombie side comes up pretty quickly. He had referenced in this interview soldiers coming back to life and speaking their minds, and some of the soldiers that died in the war do, in fact, start coming back just like he said. You get this scene where there's all the coffins with the American flags draped over them, and they start to get out of their coffins, and the soldiers get scared and shoot at them, but these are Return of the Living Dead style zombies, where you cut off the arm would still move. You destroy the head, the body can move around without the head. Now, there's not too many wacky zombie antics, so don't get too excited, but these zombies cannot be killed, and the only way that they can be put to rest is if they get to vote in the upcoming election for president. So that's a pretty wacky plot there. You have a zombie thing, and it's about zombies wanting to vote for president, which is a really freaking weird plot, but that's what we're going with. But anyway, the rest of it, it's a whole lot of political talk. What do we do? What do these zombies want? Can zombies vote? And how do the people think about this? And how can we spin it? And a lot of talking about the situation. And a lot of the main character narrating what's happening in the situation. And let's go ahead and talk about one of the big reasons why this is kind of problematic. You see, within the zombie subgenre, the best films tend to follow the common zombie metaphor. You see, zombies, yeah, it's fun, we go and we shoot the zombies, but the zombie metaphor, you see, the idea is that even though no one really wants a zombie apocalypse, in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, what would I do? How would I defeat the zombies? And the thing is, people like killing zombies. It's, something that we've made tons of video games about, watched tons of movies about. We like to kill zombies. Now, in turn, the common zombie metaphor is that the zombies represent things that we don't like about society, so that when we kill them, we're rejecting that part of society that we don't like. This is why Nazi zombies are such a popular video game and movie genre. But you look back at the original Night of the Living Dead, that was about elements in our society like racism and sexism that, we didn't like and were causing problems then, and much later, unfortunately. And then you have Dawn of the Dead, which was about mindless consumerism, which we didn't like, and when we killed zombies in Dawn of the Dead, we were rejecting that. You get Shaun of the Dead, which was about, cruising through life, not thinking, and rejecting that sort of mindset, and taking control of your life. And that's the zombie metaphor. You take the horrible things of society, say these are bad, put them in the zombies, and kill them. Now, this show doesn't use the zombie metaphor correctly, and it doesn't have time to reinvent the zombies into a different metaphor, so it looks bad. When you take these people that are, family and friends that have died in the war, heroes, people that we should say, thank you for your service, but then they're dead, and we're shooting them with machine guns, that's kind of problematic. Zombies are supposed to be things we don't like about society, and these are heroes in society that we're putting into the zombie role, and it doesn't work. If you want a zombie movie that talks about war, look at Romero's Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead talks about war kind of like this one does, but there, the zombies are the result of chaos from a mismanaged system. They're not literally the innocents, and that Day of the Dead is a much better way of saying kind of what this is trying to say. But yeah, this does not work. The other problem is this is very, very dated. It's 2021 right now, and this is talking about the politics of 2004. Now, when I said this was the second Bush election, I had to look up. He's going against John Kerry. That's right, John Kerry. I lived through this period in time, and I couldn't even remember who he was going up against. I don't know if you ever seen, there's a Futurama episode. In Futurama, they have the Head Museum, where they have the heads of important historical figures preserved in jars, and you can, talk to them. There was this gag they did where they were in the Hall of Presidents, and they could see the heads of all the famous presidents and talk to them, and then the camera pans over and it's the Hall of Presidents, and it pans to the closet of presidential hopefuls, and they're all stacked in there and covered with dust and spider webs. There is something about presidential hopefuls where they're just so instantly forgotten about, and even though this guy is who the zombies are wanting to vote for, he's barely brought up, and it's really not so much about who this other guy is, more just that they don't like Bush, and it feels weird to hear someone talking about how much they don't like Bush well after his presidency, and it's so very 2004 and not really relevant too much now. We're all thinking about different problems and different presidents and different things that we disagree on, and yeah, who wants to take a trip back to 2004? But on top of all that, and this is what a lot of people cite with this episode, it's very heavy-handed and very preachy. This episode, it feels more like a lecture, and the thing is, if I wanted to watch a lecture, there are plenty of lectures available on YouTube and TED Talks and other places. It's very heavy-handed in its message, and it's not afraid to just straight up tell it and tell you this is what I think things should be this way. And I'm not saying you can't have politics in your horror movie. There's politics done really well all the time. Rosemary's Babies, about women's rights, Get Out, a very good modern take on racism. You can do politics, but you have to do a movie. You're not shooting a lecture unless you're actually shooting a lecture. And this is a very, very heavy-handed episode. And yeah, it focuses on this lecture, and you kind of lose the story. You don't really care too much about your main characters, and there's large periods where it kind of forgets about them, and then they pop back up again. You don't care about your characters, and you also don't get zombie stuff. When I say you're gonna do a zombie episode, you expect, a bunch of killing zombies, you expect running and hiding and looking for shelter or food, stuff like that. This isn't in this episode. There's a little bit of killing zombies, which, like I said earlier, is kind of problematic because of what they are, but there's just a little bit of that at the beginning and then the end, and the zombies never really seem to have the world under threat. And if you like zombie movies, there's not a lot of zombie movie stuff in it. It just happens to be zombies. Really, I think this plot would have worked out a lot better and would have been less problematic if they were ghosts and we didn't shoot at them. And then, it would be like these ghosts appear and remind us of, the creepy things and the death and stuff. And then, if they were ghosts, it would have just made a lot more sense. But honestly, this doesn't really feel like Dante. Joe Dante does some great humorous stuff, and I think when they gave the funny guy the script, they were hoping it would turn into like a smart political satire. We'd eventually get The Hunt later, which was a very sharp, digging political satire movie, and this really just doesn't feel funny at all, and really a waste of Dante. I'm kind of wondering if when Mick Garris created the show, if he thought, okay, we have these serious episodes, let's give them to the funny guys so they don't get weighed down. But really, what they should have done is, Larry Cohen is on this show. Larry Cohen could have made this concept work. He does some heavy messages in his stuff, and he always makes it work. And I mean, even if he had to rewrite half the script himself, Larry Cohen could have pulled this off. But yeah, instead we get a Dante thing that doesn't feel like Dante, and it's it's really weird. Like, I've seen some of his later stuff. It's not like he got angry and political later on. This just doesn't even feel like him. And I don't know, maybe Cohen could have pulled something out. But as it stands, I don't even know what happened here. It doesn't feel like Joe Dante. And it's just it's a problematic mess. You're shooting soldiers, and you're a zombie movie that doesn't do zombie movie things. It's definitely an episode I don't recommend, and I'm hoping I'm not causing like an argument in the comments section or anything, you know. Like I said, you could do political horror if you do it right. Larry Cohen's stuff, I mean, Maniac Cop, where it's about one bad apple and the police going, oh man, nobody trusts us anymore. That turned out to be super relevant. And like I said, you know, the Ira Levin movies, Rosemary's Baby, most notably, and the original Romero zombie movies. You can tackle political issues, but if your story's a mess, your story's a mess, and just turn it into a lecture instead. Overall, this is actually considered by many to be the worst episode of Masters of Horror, and Dante's one from Season 2 is also problematic. I guess I'm just glad to get this out of the way. I'm going to be covering all the episodes, and there are some good ones. The John Carpenter cigarette burns, I should get to that soon, and there's lots of other really good ones, so I'll be back with a better episode next time. I do in general recommend the show, but this episode was just kind of off. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist down there at the bottom if you want to see more videos. I do primarily horror on this channel, so if that sounds like something you like, I'll probably have more videos that you might like as well. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day.